live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
It's a gloomy day out here in the wilderness. Who knows what's gonna bring? But this is Safari Live.
Ready.
Standing by.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. You are live, you are live.
Good afternoon, everybody, and of course, welcome again. My name is Taylor, and on camera with me today is David, and we are driving about bringing you this live safari. So, like I said, it is live, so you can chat to us, you can ask us questions, you can send us pictures, tell us what you'd like to see today, and you can do that by hashtagging Safari Live on Twitter. Now, Tristan, who you were watching on the pre-show, he's obviously also driving around, and James is on walk this afternoon. We are racing on towards Chitwa to try and get to, well, the Styx Pride, and hopefully the little ones will be up and moving around quite a bit so we can see them. I haven't seen the new ones yet. It's very exciting, and so I'm sure you're all dying to see them again after this morning. It's really quite lovely, of course, and it's a nice day. It's beautiful, it's not hot at all, it's nice and cool. Hopefully we're going to see lots and lots of animals moving around today. Let's keep our fingers crossed. But we're going to just check Gari Main on our way towards Chitwa in case one of the royal family children, Hosana and Xongile, have perhaps popped around or started moving about from hiding away from us this morning. But like I said, James is on walk. He'd love to say hello, so let's jump on board with him.
It is my fervent hope that they have not gone across and south. It is my fervent hope that Taylor will find no sign of the royal family, because I want to find them today. I have been banished to walk, of course, this because I have failed dismally to find any form of large or high-profile animal in the vehicle. So if I'm going to look at flowers, I may as well be on foot. Hashtag Safari Live is how you can ask me questions about the flowers and bushes and beetles that we're going to see today. And my name is James, and the reason I'm looking so sad is because for the last 3 drives I really have had a rough time trying to find interesting animals to show you. There have been plenty of birds, there have been plenty of insects, there have been plenty of flowers and other small things, but you know, I haven't had cause really to point my camera at too much, and so hopefully during the course of this very pleasant afternoon Sunday stroll we will be able to find something in the way of a large high-profile game. Good, that is the plan. Ruan is on camera. There, he's, unlike most of the other walk cameramen, of course, is able to show his thumb while moving along, which is quite impressive. It's quite an impressive feat to maintain focus with just one hand. Herbert, as normal, is tracking for us, and he's just up ahead trying to find some things. So let's head across to Tristan now. I know you've seen him in the pre-show to the show, but now he's going to be serious, and he's going to tell you seriously how his serious Sunday afternoon is going to go.
Well, James, apparently I am very serious and altogether a little bit boring, so we'll just have to go from there. But welcome to our sunset safari. My name is Tristan, as James mentioned, and I've got Senzo, the Maestro Mkhizi on camera today, and we are out on Djuma to try and help James Henry this afternoon. He's had a bad couple of days, and he's been struggling a little bit when it comes to some of the animals and trying to find them, so I think we're going to stay on Djuma and try and give him a hand and see if we can't find these elusive little royal cubs that have been up and down in the area the last day. So I think that's our plan. We'll definitely head into similar areas, and hopefully James will be able to find them before we do, which would be wonderful news. I feel like James is being too hard on himself. He's doing a sterling job of finding us many a flower, many an interesting insect, and just generally entertaining all of us, isn't he? So don't worry, James, you'll be absolutely fine, and I'm sure the sightings will come. It's amazing how these things happen. Often as a guide, you'll go through these runs where it becomes really tough to find animals. You kind of have sort of runs where everything is always around, and wherever you drive, an animal kind of just appears in front of you, which is really nice. And you get these purple patches where things feel very easy and life goes ahead at a rapid pace, and it's all great. And then you get runs where you just can't find an animal for the life of you, and it does start to weigh on you, and it starts to feel like you are doing something wrong. But never fear, James, just keep your spirits up, and we shall definitely break the bad run with something amazing. I feel like when you do break this little bad rut that you're in, it's going to be with something incredible. So just hold on tight, it's coming, I'm sure. So I'm up near the Buffelshoek boundary at the moment. I just wanted to check around. There were monkeys alarm calling at the dam last night, impalas this morning, and there is one leopard that does sneak around this area that it could potentially be, which is Mvula. So I'm just coming just to check, just to see if he hasn't sneaked in somewhere here. You never know with him. He is in the most random places at the most random times, and he likes this area. So I want to just try and see and rule out anything coming from this sort of northwestern corner. Now, sorry, I've just stopped because I've seen some tracks here, but they are not very fresh tracks, but I will shoot nonetheless, because they are for a male leopard. So I don't think they are from today, but Senzo, can you see these ones here on the road? So about there we go, that's the track over there. You can see the little footprint. So that is for a male leopard. Now, as I said, these tracks are not very fresh. Unfortunately, you can see there's been quite a bit of wind damage, so we know that in the last 2 days we've had a bit of wind that's blown. Jamie yesterday morning on her bushwalk had quite a breeze gusting, so I would imagine that these were probably from the night before. There is also places where birds have walked on top of it, little civets have been on top, so I don't think these are tracks that we're going to follow, but it will be interesting to know who this was, because Tingana was last seen going into Torchwood, so I think these actually could be for maybe Mvula or another younger male leopard. So it'll be interesting to see. They're not as big as what Tinganas are or Andersons, but they are still an adult male. But interesting, I don't think anyone actually called in these tracks, so it's not the best on this boundary, and up this side in Wendy she gets unfortunately a little bit of gremlin activity in her network. So while we carry on and try and see what we can find, let's go across to Taylor and see where she is and what she's going to be up.
Well, we're driving about on Gowrie Main at the moment, and I've just started hearing the radio go, which means that the other safari guides are also starting their safari. So I'm going to have to try and jump on the radio at some point just to try and get hold of them, because ideally I want to try and get into that cat sighting. So as soon as I catch a break here, I might very quickly start yabbering away to the guides. I'm just going to hear now. Can any stations copy me? We have to do the comms test first. The communications test. No one can hear me yet. Shanae for Taylor. Let's try it this way. Look at the baby Waterbuck. Hi, little babies. Look how small they are. Now, those are the impala, the rams, making their rutting call. Right, let me quickly try and move up ahead. Aren't they sweet now? I wonder where Mom is. Oh, there's Mom. Sorry. I'm in like 5th gear instead of 1st gear. There's Mom. She's just watching as to sort of where the little ones are going. Davy, I'm going to go forward because yeah, let's just see. I just want to see if we can get a view of the... Oh no, they've gone across the dam. But there's Mom. We'll have another look at the little ones now. She's not, but doesn't look particularly worried that they've gone darting off. I think she can still see them. It's okay, girl. But I don't know where the other mothers are. Sometimes we find these sort of nursery groups where you'll have one female with lots of little youngsters, and we see that actually with giraffe. Let me go forward, because I think we'll get another view of these very sweet little waterbuck. We've only just started seeing them. Let me go back and see if we can take a bit of a long distance view. No, They're hiding. Okay, let's quickly poke our noses in here. But they're very sweet. They're not very old. I don't think that they're more than about 2 months old. Right, let's have a look here. Here we go. Don't run, little ones. Now you see, they follow each other. So when one starts running away, they all do. Look at those little bottoms. The big white rings. There they're coming. Come on, a little bit to the right. They're a bit nervous. I don't think I'll push them forward anymore. We'll just let them carry on. They're still getting used to vehicles. It will take them a bit of time too. Once they see that mom's fairly relaxed, hopefully they'll sort of play off of that behavior, and then in time, like I said, it won't happen overnight. They'll eventually become fairly relaxed too with the cars. Oh, very nice though. So Sky, you've said that it's like a Waterbuck kindergarten. I think that's a good way to describe it. We're going to keep carrying on. I want to chat to the guides and see if I can get into this sighting, but I'm going to send you back across to James.
We've just heard some elephants over there calling, probably coming towards either the Galago Pan over here or towards Hyena Dam. So we're just kind of moving out of the way. We don't want to be caught in thick bush like this near them. Now, while we do that, let me just explain to you how this morning went, unsuccessful as it was. We heard some impala alarm calling quite close to here. We heard distress calls in the night. Well, I didn't. Of course, I hear nothing in the night, but Kirsten and Megan both heard distress calls in the night coming from this area. We came to check, found no tracks, found no sign of anything other than the very distressed impala. So we're going back into that area now on foot with a proper tracker like Herbert, and hopefully we'll come up with something during the course of the afternoon. Then the next thing for me to tell you is, of course, the reason I'm not looking you in the eye is because I'm so embarrassed. I told you a lie this morning. I told you one of the flowers that we had seen was a tall white squill, which of course was absolute nonsense, and once my mistake had been pointed out to me, very gently as always by Judy H, I realized that in fact what I had shown you was some form of crassula, and so I will try and re-find that sort of, it's a succulent plant. We'll try and re-find that for you and examine it more closely, and I do apologize profusely for my dreadful mistake this morning. Anyway, that is it. One must confess these things. One cannot just get on and pretend they haven't happened. Alright, let's have a quick look here while Herbie does a bit of tracking up ahead. We'll see the last of the Waltherias, one of the last. Not quite the last, but certainly one of the better examples of one of the last. And I think Taylor probably showed you one of these this morning. And they're becoming fewer and fewer between. And that is there an Acrea caterpillar. An Acrea, beautiful orange and black butterflies. There are lots and lots of different kinds. And normally the hind wings and forewings are slightly different colours. Isn't that nice? So that is the Acrea butterfly, and apparently these plants sequester hydrogen cyanide, and that's why they are so popular amongst a number of species, but especially this caterpillar species. And I'm still trying to figure out how long they take to hatch. Because remember, I don't know if you were watching during the course of the TV show, we had from about episode 3 to episode 8, we had 2 or 3 plants with these caterpillars on them, hoping that they would eventually hatch and that we would then be able to show you what they look like, or show you the chrysalises and sort of guess how long they were going to take, and maybe even watch them emerge live. But unfortunately they just kept getting bigger and fatter. So I think they'll probably take 6 to 7, maybe even 8 weeks to get from tiny eggs all the way to pupal stage, and then of course they emerge as beautiful butterflies. On we go. It is also here that I managed to lose. Here's a little Acrea. Now that could easily be the same one. You see it there? Could easily be the same one, but I'm not sure. I also managed to lose my lens cap today, so I'm going to just potter around here, see if I can find it, And while I do that, Tristan will see if he can find it where he's going towards Befusuk Dam.
Well, we're not going towards Befusuk Dam because we are on the shortcut to Galago shortcut, if that makes sense. But what we have found is a beautiful waterbuck female, which we've just spotted. She's just appeared out of the bush. Isn't she lovely? So she's got this big, long, furry neck. And I always find waterbuck look so funny. They look out of place in comparison to all the other animals. They tend to have this long fur coat, and they look like they belong in some snowy environment where it's very, very cold, instead of the hot summer Africa that we do have from time to time. But of course that hair is there just for the way that they propel water, so they will secrete an oil from their sebaceous glands that helps to push water away, and that then just keeps them dry. As the name suggests, waterbuck, it means that they go into water, and they will try and use water to evade predators, or also sometimes just to go and drink and cool down, I would imagine, but most of it is to avoid predators. Now, when you go into water, if you've got a very thick, dense coat like that, it's going to mean that it's going to trap a lot of water and a lot of moisture, and there's going to be irritation of the skin, and it's not going to be very comfortable. But if you secrete this oil and it then repels the water away, it means that body is kept in really good condition. And it is amazing to actually see how well it works. When you see a waterbuck in torrential downpours where all the other animals are huddled and they kind of got their necks down and they're all sheltering and they look thoroughly drenched, you come across waterbuck and they look as though it's a summer day with the sun out. There's really no sign of water. It all just kind of rolls off. So it's a very, very clever system. Now, it's unusual to find one female waterbuck on her own, so I would imagine there are some more around here. I'm sure these are the same waterbuck that will go down towards Gari Dam, because we're just on the northern side of Gari Dam at the moment, close to Galago, so these guys will hang around that area, and they will then move away from the water when they are starting to feed. Now, I read an interesting statistic. They reckon that these waterbuck are never found more than 2 to 5 kilometers away from water. Now, if you think about that, in some parts of Africa, that's quite a difficult thing to achieve. So that's why you typically find waterbuck in very wet areas. So here in the Sabi Sands, we've got the 2 rivers that run through and a number of man-made water sources that help them to sustain themselves and to survive. And the other places that you find waterbuck are generally in deltas or marshes where they thrive in those areas. But it's amazing also how long the grass is. It's not a small animal, but when it puts its head down, it almost disappears and completely blends in with that environment. And you can see that grey coat really does work well as well, except for that white ring. Now, the white ring looks completely ridiculous, but that is their follow me signal. So if there's a little baby here or another waterbuck, they're able to then follow that animal into the bush. But we're not going to follow it into the bush, unfortunately. It's going to go into the thickets, and, well, we'll see some more waterbuck somewhere along the line, so it makes no sense to go following it into there. I wonder if it wasn't trying to come for a drink. There used to be a lot of water in this area, and it seems to have all but dried up. Now, I wonder where Xongile is. So, light heart, light work, you're wondering what a waterbuck smells like. Well, I don't know how to describe this. It is just a very pungent, sort of chemical kind of smell that you get. It's a very difficult smell. It doesn't really smell like anything else that I can think of. I suppose the closest thing to me is like turpentine. So something like turpentine would be for me what it smells like, but it's not quite that. It's not as offensive as turpentine, but it does definitely smell. It's not great at all. Now, we've got a little squirrel that's busy running down the road. Be careful, squirrel, we don't want to go over you. So hopefully it's going to duck into the trees now and start to move off. Come on, little squirrel, out of the way. And there we go, thank you. Right, so we are going to take a short break. Taylor is still on the lookout for the Styx cubs. James is going to be on foot, and I'm still looking out for Xongile. Right, So that was our practice for the ad break for the TV shows that are coming up. It's all getting quite complicated now. The internet drives are a little bit easier. You don't have to think about all of these things, but at least we're trying, and we're trying to get it right. Hopefully it's going well so far. Yesterday and today is the first time Taylor and I have done it in the afternoon, so we're trying to get it right and trying to see how it works and see if we can get our timing right, because we have to time it with the countdown so that the ads in the TV show all work. Now, for those of you who are not sure what I'm talking about, hopefully these guys come out. Sorry, I got a bit distracted here because with these little crested Francolin chicks that just ran into the bush. Now, I'm hoping now that I've stopped, they might come back out again. Let's see. There they come. Hello, little ones. Aren't they cute? Look how they're scurrying around. So you can see they scurry right to the front to try and get away from the danger. So the adults stay slightly back, and if we were a predator, you'd find one of those adults would try and make a massive scene. So they would try and fluff their wings or try and pretend that they've got an injury to direct the predator's attention to them rather than the little chicks themselves. But that's really cool to see. Now, those chicks are already getting quite big. When they first born, these crested Francolins have tiny, tiny little chicks. They would be about, I would say, they would fit in the palm of my hand easily, so much the same size as a little baby chicken. So that would be about the size, and you can see they've grown, and they're already starting to get their little crest over their eyes, so that white stripe that comes across. So they are starting to get quite big. Oh, we've got a hive of activity. There's a few Francolins around. They're busy chasing one another now. Well, that was nice to see. So, as I was saying, for those of you who are not aware, the TV shows we do these for National Geographic in the United States, and we are preparing now for our Mother's Day specials. So for all you moms out there in the United States, I hope that you will join us. And for all of you who are not in the United States, you can still watch. We will still be broadcasting to the internet, so it's all good. So everybody still gets their full of Safari Live in the afternoons and mornings. Now, I'm paying attention in this area because it could be a great area for little Xongile to move around in. I'm sure Karula used to bring her around these areas, so I'm just paying attention, trying to see. So while I do that, the other man in search of Xongile, or any sign of an animal really, is Mr. James Henry.
We found a herd of elephants here, but it's very difficult to see because the bush is very thick. So if you come over here, I'm going to whisper. If we look just down this path, you can see the movement of a tail and perhaps the flapping of an ear. There's a herd moving along here, quite possibly going towards the water, we're not sure. But we can't go any closer at this stage because the bush is simply too thick. So if we go too much closer, especially with the camera and the big aerial on the back, we'll almost certainly make a big noise. And if we make a big noise, the elephants will be offended. And you don't want an offended elephant. An offended elephant is not a happy elephant. Now, the first thing we do is to check the wind. So the wind is blowing very nicely for us. It's coming from the elephants towards this way. So Herbert is just going to go down there and see if he can't find another view. I don't know if you actually got a view there at all. You probably didn't. Now we're about to go back to fake TV, which of course will make no difference to your lives at all. But we must practice these things. Welcome back everybody to your live safari on a gorgeous Sunday afternoon here in northeastern South Africa. You might wonder why I'm whispering. Well, it's because there's a herd of elephants just over here. Hashtag Safari Live is how you get hold of us. My name is James Henry, and I hope that in the next little while we're going to show you some elephants on the foot, the most profound touch of the wilderness man can ever have. Okay, that's the end of the fake introduction. Let's carry on. Okay, come with us. think that's what he's saying. Watch here, Rowan, watch out, dear. You can see how thick the bush is. And there's a nice big drainage line down here. Okay, Rowan, if you come over here, you can see a tail. You can just see a tail there. Can you see it? You might just be able to pick it up. Now, we're not far from these things, and so we're going to have to be very quiet. But I think it's going to be worth just sitting here a little bit longer to see if we can't get a proper view. Okay, I think there's a better view to come this way. See if you can get in here through the fork in the tree here. You can just see the grey shapes there. And there, can you see them there? They're not far from us if you come just a little bit further over to your left. You got them there. You see them? Just two grey shapes. We can see one quite close by, the other one a bit further away. The one further away is actually easier to see. Got them? Louise, can you see them? Rowan is obviously working with a viewfinder that is very difficult. Okay, I'm not sure why you can't see them. Okay, come a little bit forward, right? Okay, there we can see one digging. It's a cow. Can you see her there? Straight through the middle of this fork, over into the bush, and you can actually see flapping ears, and you can see another one's furrowed quite nicely. Any luck there? Oh, good, well done. Isn't this special? This is a wonderful way to experience a Sunday afternoon, and luckily the elephants seem to be in a rather Sunday afternoonish mood. In other words, they're nice and relaxed. Digging holes in the sand to get some clean water, flapping their ears just to keep relatively cool. It's about 23 degrees Celsius, 75 Fahrenheit. Isn't that beautiful? And in the background, a lovely sound of the emerald spotted wood dove. I don't know if we're going to get a better view than this. Let me just ask Herbert. Do you think we'll get a better view, or do you think this is about it?
Yeah.
We'll just be patient and wait here. We'll wait here a little bit. We'll see what they do. Oh, I don't think we're going to get a better view than that just yet. We're going to have to wait and see if they move. Now, if I was on my own, I might try and sneak a bit closer, but with 3 people, and also, of course, with the cameraman with an enormous aerial, it's almost impossible for Rowan to move completely silently through the bush because he's carrying a heavy pack, concentrating on the camera and the big aerial. Alright, we're just going to do a little bit of a recce around here, see if we can't find a better view, and while we do that, let's find out if Tristan's managed to collect my lens cap yet.
James, I'm sorry I haven't found your lens cap yet. I've got very, very distracted. I have not been looking for it at all. So I've got report that Shadow was seen crossing into Djuma, which is very exciting news. Now, I just see some tracks here that I want to quickly check before I do anything else, because it looks like these could be her tracks. No, these are not them. But there was a track here that looked very similar to a female leopard that I want to quickly check. Now, for those of you that have just joined us, my name is Tristan, Senzo on camera, and remember that this is an interactive experience, so you can use the hashtag #SafariLive on Twitter if you want to ask us any questions, or if you just want to say hello from wherever you are in the world. Now, there is an interesting track here because it does look like Shadow's track, but I wonder where, because I didn't see anything on Vertela Access, but I'm just trying to see nicely how fresh it is. It doesn't look fresh at all. It looks like it's been disturbed by a bit of wind, much like the tracks we saw earlier, and it hasn't really been that windy today, and I don't see any other tracks on the road that would indicate it's from today. So I want to just head a little bit further to where she actually crossed, because she crossed quite far south, very close to where James had her with the cub. And so I have a funny feeling that maybe she's gone towards the cub, and maybe we're going to find her in that little drainage line with the cub. So I want to head into that direction just to see and make sure. If there's nothing, then I know to come back here and to come and have a look. But there's nothing that's fresh on this road that's on top of any of the vehicle tracks, and so this leopard crossed really late in the morning, so I'm sure it's here somewhere on our side, but I don't think it's come this far north. The problem is with weather that we've got like today, so we've got this cloudy, overcast, grey conditions. It's perfect weather for any cat to be walking around. So even though leopard and lions are cats that don't move too much during the day, when it's weather like this, it's cool enough that they can still move and can still find somewhere to be able to hunt and to be able to be active. So it makes life a little bit more difficult for tracking. When it's really hot, you'll find that you would have found some shade and just lay down, but potentially could have moved quite far. But if the cub is there, then I reckon that she might still be there as well. The saving grace is that all of the animals that I've come past, so I drove past some impalas just now, and they were all very, very relaxed. They weren't in any way distressed. And when there's been a leopard that's moved through an area, often you'll find that the animals are a lot more alert. So as you come past, they kind of sit bolt upright and they look into these thickets and look around to see what's going on. But as soon as hello, sorry, I've just seen a bird, but I'm not quite sure exactly which. Oh no, don't fly away. Oh, there we go. So Senzo, you see there's a dead stump there with the sort of green leaves at the bottom of it. So just at the top of that dead stump, so straight in the middle of your frame. Oh, wait, it's come closer here. Now, I actually can't see what it is. It almost looks like an ashy flycatcher, but it keeps bouncing around. But I haven't had a chance to actually see it nicely yet. It's sitting perched on this branch. You can see there's two of them. There we go. So what have we got here? Yes, little ashy flycatchers. They're very, very pretty. Hello, little flycatchers. Now, flycatchers are one of my favorite birds. They normally have such a beautiful song that they sing, and they tend to be very, very petite. Now, unfortunately, our flycatcher has flown away, and I believe Taylor has managed to catch up with the Styx, so let's go across to her and see what they're up to.
We finally managed to get to the Styx Pride of Lions. Now, if you have just joined us, my name is Taylor, and on camera with me today is David, and we are very privileged, of course, to be sitting here. This is the first time that I have seen the new little cubs, and how adorable are they. We're lucky because when we just got here, they were lying in the long grass, and it's like they were already learning the ropes. And they've decided, of course, to come out and have a suckle. They are so sweet and so tiny. It is really, really nice to see little lion cubs again. Well, you can see straight away which one has got a dominant personality as it bosses its siblings around and bulldozes them to try and find, well, the teat with all the milk. And that's what these little ones will do. This is really, really sweet, isn't it? Listen to the sounds that they're making. And typical. As soon as I stop talking, all the little ones stop making a noise. They've obviously found a spot. They've got their eyes closed now. They're going to drink their fill, and then they will probably go and have a siesta somewhere. But it is nice and cool, so hopefully we'll be able to spend a bit of time with them today. I'm glad we managed to get here earlier before the guards have got out, because it is going to be very, very busy this afternoon, you can imagine, with these little ones. They will be, well, a highlight, and I'm sure all the guests in the various lodges are absolutely itching to see these beautiful little cubs. Now remember, this is indeed a live safari, so if you'd like to ask any questions, you can hashtag Safari Live with your questions on Twitter. I think this is the first time in a couple of months that I've actually seen the Styx Pride, or the entire Styx Pride, all three females, back together again. We can just see two of them at the moment, but the third one is around the corner with one of the Birminghams. Just keeping an eye on what I think Tristan said was a Waterbuck carcass this morning. But it is very quiet. They're definitely not feeding at the moment. And one of the older cubs has got a very full belly, so I'm sure that this little one had been hanging around the carcass for most of the afternoon and probably the morning. And look at her big pants. I think regretting that it ate so much. That's always the case, isn't it? You think that you have space for dessert, and then often when you have dessert, that's not the case at all. You should have stopped at your starter. And I think lions are good examples of that. Although, if you have an appetite like Hosanna, who is a young male leopard, just in case you're unsure of all these names, he has got a ferocious appetite as well. And I think he'll have a ferocious appetite for his entire life. And so will these little lions. But let's, hopefully we'll see them all grow up, won't we? That'll be nice. Now, obviously something that unfortunately we always have to chat about with the Styx Pride is the fact that the lionesses do have a case of mange. So they're looking quite healthy. They look much better than the last time that I saw them. And Love Dogs, you were actually wondering if mange would still be a problem. It would only be a problem if one of the lions in the pride still has mange. And like I said, the last time I saw one of the lionesses with the two older cubs, she didn't look great. She still looked very patchy. But I think with all the abundance of healthy animals around that they can feed on, I think it will definitely help their immune system. So let's hope that the lionesses can pull through and beat the mange, and then if they do that, that just gives the cubs a better chance of survival too. And mange in animals normally only comes through when they're not particularly healthy, so when they have a dip in their immune system, it's quite common to pick up something like mange. And for these little cubs, it is very difficult to fight something like that when you haven't even, well, probably started eating meat just yet. I'm sure they're having a couple of nibbles, but you can see they're still quite happy and relying on mom's milk. So once they start getting exposed to all sorts of different bacteria, they'll start building up a resilience. But that, of course, only comes in when they're a little bit older. So it is tough for these cubs. But you must remember, and we say this over and over, but nature is cruel. Only the fittest and the strongest will survive and make it through to adulthood. And the success rate of young predators is unfortunately not very high, especially to make it to adulthood. So you know what the thing is about nature is you've just got to enjoy what we've got while we've got it and make the most of it. And remember all the good times and not dwell on the negatives. I think that's an important sort of philosophy to have in life, really, is just keep moving forward. There's always going to be obstacles and challenges. But if you keep positive, and I'm sure that's what these lions do, they don't want to see their cubs go either. They want to be successful. And that is their role in life, really, is to breed and pass on their genes and ensure that their little ones survive. Now, Carolyn, as we look at these little ones feasting, you're wondering how long does mom suckle them for? Well, this is always a funny story, Carolyn. It's actually something really enjoyable to watch as we go on. These cubs are relatively young. I think they're only about, well, how old are they now? No, they're not even 4 months. 4 months, I think the other ones are 4 months. Louise, do we know how old these cubs are? About 2 months. Something around there. Weren't they born at the end of February? Yes, they were. February, March, April. Yes. 3 months? I think that might be 3 months. I think might be a little bit old, because if I'm not mistaken, I think I have in my diary, and I'll check it now, when we went to the Rangers meeting, and they'd said that the lion cubs were born it was after the 20th of February. Should we have a look? Let's get the blue book out and note, because I don't have it here because I was making notes this afternoon, so it's sitting in my room. So I remember the last Rangers meeting that I attended with Steph, and we were actually discussing the dates, and I can't quite remember, but I have written it down. But I think it was the 28th of February. I don't know why I'm remembering that date, but that date seems to be popping into my head. So they're actually a little bit younger than that. They're not quite even 2 months old then. Or maybe just 2 months, because Mom would have also probably tucked them away, and we might have only picked up on them on a few days later, even a week later, before we realized that lioness even had any cubs. Now remember, of course, I'm just listening to the radio chat, so I don't want to keep you all up to date. There are a lot of guides that do sound like they're coming to this area, so I'll try and get hold of them again and let them know that we are here. I did try earlier, but I didn't get a response. So what might happen is we might not be able to sit here for too long, but we'll see how long we can manage, and then we can always try and be put onto the rotation for this evening. The only difficult thing, though, is we're obviously fighting against the light, because this sighting that we're watching at the moment is definitely light sensitive, and because they are so young, they will call this a negative sighting once the sun goes down. Sorry, I knocked my hat there. I had a fly buzzing around my nose. So like I said, we'll try and spend as much time as we can. But they're fairly flat for the moment. They've had a suckle, they've had something to eat, they're enjoying the cooler weather, and I think digestion is taking place at the moment. But I'm going to have a quick chat with the guides. I'm going to send you to James Hendry, and hopefully he's got something magical to show you.
Come quickly, we've got a leopard. Everybody, there's a leopard there. There's a leopard just inside here. And elephants. Leopards and elephants in here. Just put the camera there. The leopard is there somewhere. I think going down into the drainage. Come over here. This is amazing. The elephants here as well. If those elephants see the leopard. Okay, come with them. Come back this way. Where is it? Come this way. There, it's running there. It's a young male. No, who is that? Who is that, everybody? This is unbelievable. I can't believe that. That can't be Xongile. It's too nervous. Who is that? It's a female. I can't tell. You watch the elephants, I'll check out the leopard. I just need to see behind her tail. Unless it's young Hosana. That's Hosana. No? Is it? Doesn't look like there's much going on behind the tail. We're going to have to move now. The elephants are here too. Did anybody see who that leopard was? I couldn't get a proper view. Let's just go up top here and have a look. I need to do this more often on foot, obviously. Vehicle's not my thing right now. Now the birds are starting to alarm call there. The birds can see the leopard. I'm sure it's moving slowly down this drainage system. I didn't see who that was. Did anyone else notice? No, man. Come over here. We just got to keep listening for the elephant as well. Watch the branches here, Rowan. It's lying down over here. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Can you see it there, Rowan? Just be careful, don't move too much, just move nice and slowly. He's looking straight at us. Herbie, you watch out for the elephants. Can you see the leopard? It's just in there. As you can just see the tail. See the tail there? The leopard's now moving. Nice and relaxed. Can you see it, Ron? Okay. How can you not have a visual? There, it's moving now. That's Xongile. It is Xongile. I think she must have just got a little fright. Okay. Isn't that awesome? You got it now, hey? That's fantastic. Everybody, what a day this has turned out to be. And I suspect we're going to have to extract fairly carefully, because there's a big monstrous elephant now watching us from the right hand side of your picture. I'm not going to ask Rowan to move the camera though. I'm just going to let him carry on looking at the beautiful little leopard. Where were you all this morning, my dear? Because goodness did we search for you. This is what those impala were shouting at, I've no doubt in my mind. There are more elephants moving down through the background. Don't worry about them. You just keep going with the leopard. Now, if I feel things are getting a little unsafe, not because of the leopard, because of the elephants, I will quickly link to Tristan and then we'll move away quickly. But for now, we're okay. We're just working out an extraction plan, which we've done. And there's a beautiful little leopard. She's just going to go down into the drainage. Cool. Rowan, now if you swing to your right hand side, I've got the aerial. There you go. And just up top there, you'll see the elephants. Just up top you can just see the movement, the grey shape there. And there goes the leopard. Let's go back left, sorry. There's the leopard moving down the drainage to the left there. There we are. Alright, everyone. Let's go this way. Rowan, you're going to have to duck or come around there. Go around there if you like. Stay there. Okay. I've just got to try and help Rowan underneath these trees. Come this way. I think you'll have to duck. Otherwise you're going to... Yeah, that's it. Well done. That's it. That's it. That's it. Well done. Okay, we've got another view of the leopard. Where's she? Herbs? Oh, there. Just going up. She's going to come out just behind these trees on the right-hand side there. You see my stick? She's going to pop out. She's just moved to the back of that area there. Herbie's going to see if he can get another look. There she goes. I can see her there. You see her? Yeah, she's just there. Just popping out through the bush there, and she's going past that big tree in the background. We won't see her again from here. We might be able to go... Should we go down here? Okay, we're going to go down. Just going to keep an eye for the elephants, obviously. What an afternoon. What a beautiful, perfect, marvellous, magnificent, awesome, gorgeous, and dare I even say it, incredible afternoon. Alright, we're going to tell Tristan about this. He's looking for Shadow at the moment. While we tell him, well, I'm going to give you over to him to tell him what we've just seen.
Well, I'm super glad for James. I told you that it will be something special will happen and that he'll get a really great sighting. So he's got elephants and leopard together in the same sighting on foot is something absolutely incredible. So I'm very, very glad for him. Now, we are looking for any signs of where Shadow crossed. There's tracks of her going up and down in this area. But what is making me quite excited is that the tracks for her coming out from this morning are by herself. And apparently she crossed with the cub coming back. So I wonder if maybe, just maybe, she doesn't have a kill somewhere here that she's taking that cub to, because the cub will be of that age now where it's going to start going towards kills and it's going to start feeding on meat. So I'm just checking very, very carefully as we go along the road here and just seeing if there's any sign of where exactly they crossed. I thought maybe they would be in the drainage line. I checked a little bit in there. There's nothing that I can see, but I am trying to see where vehicles may have pulled off onto the side, just to get a better sort of reference as to where exactly she may have ended up. Unfortunately, this block is really, really big, which doesn't help us. It's a really large block, and so to get in here, the next road on the northern side is very far away, which is not ideal. It would be nice if it was a quite small block, then we would be able to find them quite quickly. So I'm just going slowly along, trying to just check here, seeing if there's any sign of exactly where this leopard potentially went in to Weirtella. Now I see lots of tracks here, so I would imagine that this is somewhere here is where she was. But now it's just a matter of actually finding the exact place that she went. The guy said to me just north of Zebra Drive, so it's exactly where we are now. So I think that there might be where she went in. Now what we might have to do is we might have to take a little walk like James has done, because sometimes these leopards are in the thickets and it's not visible from the road, and you've got to kind of walk to get a better idea of what's going on. The problem is I'm quite hesitant to walk with Shadow at the moment, just because of that, the size of her cub. She can be a little bit temperamental when she's got her cubs, and I don't want to stress her or make that cub feel uncomfortable and then it runs back onto the Arathusa side or into Hoffman's where we can't even look for it. So I'm trying to just see if I can't see her from the road itself, and if there's nothing from the road, then I'm going to go back and just probably take a walk just to at least get a direction of the track and try and see if I can't find anything. But I think we've definitely come too far now, because there's no more tracks sort of turning and moving. When guys follow leopards, or guides follow leopards, you'll find that they pull off on the side and then they kind of go in, and you find this sort of weaving pattern of a tire track, and there's no more that are like that from here. It's all back behind us. So I'm probably going to turn around somewhere here and try and head back in the way that I've just come and see if I can't find something there. But we know from the past that Shadow loves this area. This is an area where she used to put Xongile a lot. So for those of you who are not familiar with Xongile, Xongile was her last cub that made it up to about a year old before he ate the rabid dog, and then had to go and unfortunately get lots of treatment and try and get that rabies under control, which has now happened. He was then re-released back into the Sabi Sands, and he is now a free-roaming leopard in this area. But this area that we're in now is where Xongile used to be left for long periods of time by Shadow. So I'm sure she's favoring it. She knows that this is a great place to have her cubs. So I'm going to just try and check around and just see if potentially they are somewhere around here. But I think we've definitely gone too far now. There's no evidence of anybody driving around this area. So I think let's turn around here where we've got a little gap. So sometimes things have got to be made a little bit more difficult. It makes us appreciate it when we do find them. Now we've just got to be a bit careful. Off-roading in this particular section is very dangerous because lots and lots of zebra wood. So zebra wood is a very, very hard type of wood that we get, and that zebra wood is lethal to tires. So if you want to have punctures, you just drive over a zebra wood and you will be changing all your tires very, very quickly. So we've got to be a bit careful. And it's all this bush that you're seeing along the side of the road here. So these ones that are all along, there are some others that are here as well, but these kind of small little shrubs that you're seeing along the side of the road, most of these are zebra woods. And like I say, they just absolutely smash your tires. They have these hard spines, and as you drive over it, the spines go through into the tire and cause massive punctures. So it's good to stay away from things like that. So Shadow is not aggressive, so she gets this bad reputation because she often is a little bit snarly and she kind of bares her teeth every now and then, but she's not an aggressive cat. I've spent a lot of time with Shadow, and she's always been a pleasure in the vehicles. Every now and then she'll get a little bit grumpy if people maybe just push the envelope a little bit too much. They get a little bit close to her, and when she's got cubs, she's very defensive of that cub, which is right for most mothers. Even Karula, she can be quite defensive of her cubs, and so she sometimes just shows a bit of aggression to say, that's enough, you're close enough, I don't want you any closer, and that's it. And once you then respect that, she calms right down very quickly. The problem with her is that sometimes when you're on foot, she can be a little bit aggressive to you on foot, and it's not because she's trying to eat you or anything like that. She's just trying to warn you and to try and chase you from where the cub is. So she's trying to protect her offspring, and when she's got cubs, then when you walk into her, sometimes she can be a little bit aggressive. I know Brent has once had an experience with her where she charged at him a little bit, so she can be a little bit like that. When she doesn't have the cub, she tends to be quite fine. Now, I haven't had any issues with her on foot when she hasn't had a cub. It's just when she's got the cub with her, and if there's a carcass, then she knows that that's a time where predators are going to come in, so hyenas and other animals, and she has to be then very, very careful about what she does. But I just want to check one more area. Just want to make 100% sure they haven't gone into Hofmann's, which is the property that lies to the south of us. Once I've established that, then I know that they must be in this little section here, which is not so little, and then we'll try and find a way to be able to find what we're looking for. So you can see what I was talking about with the vehicle tracks and how they weave. So if you have a look here, you can see where the tracks of the cars were weaving up and down, and they were going in there. And so that area over there is basically where they were turning and pointing. So I think she must have crossed in this direction, and that's where she's probably likely to be. If we had to try and go in there, maybe we're going to find her. The interesting thing is on the other side of this is where James had her with the cub a few days ago. Now, generally when you go into that area, there's a big tall brown ivory with an open clearing, and there's normally impala or a wildebeest. There's some sort of animal that's sitting there. Today there was nothing, so I wonder if maybe she hasn't disturbed the area there a little bit, and we just need to check and try and see if we can't find her. Now we're going to carry on and try and see if we can't get a cat trifecta. James is with the leopard and Taylor's got lions, so let's go across to Taylor while we try find Shadow.
A cat trifecta? That sounds fantastic. Let's hope we can make that happen today. Isn't this absolutely lovely? We're still with these little lion cubs, and they are so sweet, but their bellies are indeed full, and they seem to just be resting up for the moment. What we'll do just now is we'll actually go around the corner, because it did look like the Birmingham boy sat up, but I don't know for how long he's going to sit up for. He may have just been reshuffling a little bit. There seems to be some biting flies around, thankfully not biting us. They're enjoying the lions today. Oh, there's a bit of growling there between the third lioness and the Birmingham boy, so I wonder if it wasn't a little scrap over the carcass of what's left of the carcass. He's just moving around behind that tree. You can just see him. He completely flopped down to the ground. Okay, so we won't go back there just yet then, as I think we'd all prefer to watch sleeping naughty little lion cubs. Now I'm still trying to get hold of the guides just to let them know that we are here. Here we go, here's some guides. Now, are there any Chitwa movers out now? Just have to keep in touch with everybody, of course. Still no. Okay. Well, we won't be able to stay here for too much longer, unfortunately. Just because, of course, it sounds like there are a lot of cars on their way here, so we'll just enjoy it while we can. But maybe tomorrow morning, because I don't know if we will make it in time to come back here. Hopefully tomorrow morning we'll be able to spend a bit more time with them. But it's good that they're back together again. Like I said, it's been a long time with the lion dynamics out here at the moment. Everything's sort of been changed up quite a bit. But isn't this great? And I hope that the Styx Pride come and visit Djuma, seeing as though the Nguhumas don't seem to be occupying that area as well as often as they used to. Oh, isn't that lovely? Nothing quite like a sibling cuddle, isn't there? And they are so, so, so sweet. Now, Patricia, you're wondering who is the probable father of the Styx cubs. It's a bit hard actually to try and figure this one out, because it could be Nena. I think Nena and Nsuku hang around more with the Styx Pride and the Torchwood Pride, but Mfumo and Tinyo have been moving around quite a bit, and we've been seeing 3 of the Birminghams together, Tinyo, Mfumo, as well as Nena. Nsuku every now and then. I'm actually not sure which Birmingham is here. I had a very quick look, and I think it could have been Nsuku, if I was not mistaken. I just saw his eyes very quickly. I didn't really see much of him. I was also too obsessed with these tiny little cubs, because we haven't seen little lion cubs like this for a couple of months. Well, not since, of course, Nkuhumas have now all grown up. And I think, if I heard correctly, there were a couple more Birminghams in the area, and I think that they were coming this way. But they'll be a bit disappointed when they arrive here that they've missed the meal. But that's it though, you've got to be quick on the mark and make sure you're at the right place at the right time. And I've actually seen that a couple of times where male lions have only clicked in later that the pride has caught something, and they try to come charging in and take over. And sometimes the carcass is just too far gone, and the boys literally, they get a couple of slaps across the face, growled at, and they sort of sit in the corner licking their wounds. And, well, it's almost like they say, well, you better participate next time. Because they do that. Some male lions, and I think Nsuku is one of them from what I've heard. He doesn't do much hunting. He used to rely, from all the stories that I've heard, of the Torchwood Pride and just taking down buffalo after buffalo, and he would be there to, of course, provide protection and eat all of the food. Whereas we've seen what is wrong with me today? We've seen Tinyo, and we've definitely seen Mfumo partaking in a lot of the hunts with the Nkuhuma Pride. But if they are on their own, they will take down much prey. And for instance, the Charleston males down on that sort of traverse around Sabi, Kirkman's, Lion Sands, they are very, very successful hunters on their own. They definitely don't need a pride to help them hunt. On numerous occasions, again, it was during the drought, the animals were weaker than they normally were, but they were taking down fully grown buffalo bulls all by themselves, which is, I think, very impressive, even if they are slightly weakened. But how wonderful is this? Now, Wheaty and Debbie, you're wondering how many hours a day do lions sleep? Many hours, in fact. But, with these little cubs, they've got a lot more energy than the adults do. So the chances are that the little ones will get up and play about while the adults sleep. But typically it's anywhere between 18 and 20 hours a day. That, of course, depends on a number of different things. You must remember, have they just caught something? Are they thin and hungry or starving and desperately looking for something to eat? Then they might go out and search for something during the day. But even though they're sleeping like this, they're always on high alert for a warthog, for a kudu, for a waterbuck, even an impala, to come strolling through, and they will head straight into the hunt. But this is lovely. But unfortunately, I think we're going to actually have to leave the sighting soon, because there is a lot of chatter on the radio and a lot of guides that are wanting to come here. And I think we were very lucky just to enjoy this sighting, just for a little bit, all on our own too. Suppose we can't be too selfish and hog it for ourselves. Remember, we can't put too much pressure on these lions either. They are still very young. So I think they'd be limiting the sighting to a 2-vehicle sighting, because it's not particularly open either. If it was on a massive open plain. Oh, there goes the Birmingham. Can you see him just at the back there, just to the right of the lions? To the right? Where the... no, he's going down there. There he is. That was the lioness. There's the big Birmingham. Now, he might be going off to use the luxury facilities, or perhaps he's had enough and he said, the food is gone, I am going to go too. Could you have not taken one step to the left, lion, so we could have seen your face through all those shrubs over there? I think it is Nsuku. Come on. Is it? I don't know. Louise, do you remember from this morning who Tristan had? There's a big yawn. I'm actually not sure. And now he's hiding his faces. But maybe some of you all know. If you do know, if you did manage to identify him, hashtag Safari Live, let us know. Obviously, we'll try our best to identify the lion now. It's just a little bit difficult because he's hiding behind all the long grass. Come on, boy. Yes, I think that's exactly what he's done. I think he's been very polite and has walked away to use the luxury facilities. But I'm sure he will be back. Yes, here he comes. Come on. Come on, big boy. We're waiting to figure out who you are. Can we identify him by his tail? No, it's a little bit too difficult. That, I think, would take a serious expert. And, well, I'm not one of them. I'm not an expert on being able to identify lions by their tails. It's hard enough just looking at their faces. But it is so thick in there. It's actually good because if these little cubs do feel a bit of pressure from anywhere, they can just duck into that long grass around the teak and around the bush willows, and they will be fine. They'll probably feel a little bit more on the relaxed side. I don't know where our Birmingham has gone. Right. We're going to have to move away from these little lions now, as there are a lot of vehicles coming this way. We're going to head on towards Cheetah Plains and see if we can find anything else around there. James has since left Xongile on foot. I'm not sure if Tristan's going to be heading that way, but let's go get an update again from James.
What we've done is we have left her. She moved off. You had the last view of her. And she came down towards the pan, we thought. And then we heard, well, that's the pan's over there. And then we heard birds' alarm calling in here. I made the call that we shouldn't follow her further. Mainly because I don't want to put pressure on her, and secondarily because of the elephants in the area, and I don't know where they are all exactly, and it's very thick. But she gave us a great view on foot, and she was just slightly nervous to begin with there, and I'm not sure why that was, so I figured, she's moved away from us. If she comes closer to us, absolutely, then we stay and enjoy the sighting. We had 2 great views of her, and so I've just decided that I think we'll probably leave. What we're going to do is look around here. We're going to go back towards Hyena Den. Apparently there were a couple of giraffes around there earlier on. We'll see if we can get a view of them. I think she's going to pop out at some stage during the course of the afternoon. She'll probably go and have a drink either at Galago or go around hunting towards Hyena Den. So that's the story here. We're not going to pressure her any further. You saw her moving away there. If she'd wanted to be around us, well, she would have just lain down there and stayed with us. So I think it's best that we just leave her be. Tristan, unfortunately, could try and get into this area, but he really will struggle. It is dreadful sort of signal area, this. Now, speak truth or seek truth. You say, would it be safer for Xongile to stay hidden? Well, yes, it would definitely be safer for Xongile to stay hidden. But obviously, if she stays hidden, she's not going to eat. And so she's not going to stay hidden. She must eventually expose herself. She must come out. She must eventually, make an effort to catch something. And so that's probably what she will have to do. That's what she will do. There are birds' alarm calling all around here. I'm just going to walk slowly up through here. Of course, the birds see us in much the same way as they see Xongile, so they will alarm call at us, just like they do at a young female leopard. Now, we heard distress calls. She looks full to me. I think she's eaten something recently. I think she's looking quite tall, actually. I haven't seen her looking quite that big before. That's why I was a bit confused to start with. I hope you all agree with me that it was Xongile from the views that we had. I'm 99.9% sure it was. And so we're just going to do one last little look through here and see if she doesn't pop out. But of course, if she doesn't want to be seen, and she definitely didn't this morning, because this is around the area I was checking, the grass is so long. She has only just to sink down onto her haunches and she'll become completely invisible, and that's why the birds become so important. Her second time we spotted her was because the birds started alarm calling at her. Of course, I think if she's on the hunt, she'll be much less likely to be confiding with us on foot. She'll be much more likely to sort of want to stay hidden, want to be away from us. She knows, I'm sure, she will figure out that we too will inspire an alarm call from the birds and from the other animals, and of course she doesn't want everything on edge if she's trying to hunt it. Now, how conscious that thought is, I couldn't really say. Probably not very conscious at all. But it is the same reason. You can go through there, Rowan, if you want. It's the same reason why they flick that tail up when birds are alarm calling at them. They don't want other animals to know that they're in the area. Alright, we're going to negotiate our way out of this rather sticky bush, make our way around to Waterbuck Dam. I don't know why I'm still whispering like this, but I quite like it, so I'm going to continue for the duration of my link to Tristan, who I think is somewhere in the world.
We are indeed, James. We're in Djuma, in the Sabi Sands, Kruger National Park, South Africa. Somewhere in that area. Now, I don't know why I'm whispering either. I just spotted something off here. I just want to see with my binoculars what it is. So, no further luck on shadow. It's such a difficult area. The grass is about the same height as me in places. Oh, it's just a leaf, unfortunately. Sorry, Senzo, don't worry. Just a leaf. Looked like maybe some sort of beetle or something hanging from a tree there, so I wanted to just check in case it was one of the fruit chafers. So regal fruit chafers are one of my favorite beetles. I'll try and pull up a picture now for you. But the area where shadow is literally the grass is probably up to my armpits in places. Now, I'm not a short fellow, I'm about 6'2", so when grass is that tall, it just doesn't make sense to be trying to track a female leopard with a cub in areas like that. So I've decided that I'm going to just carry on for a bit, and then I'll go and do another loop round a little bit later and just see if I can't find her later, and not right now. I'm just trying to find my insect book. I suppose I should stop for this because I'm not even watching the road at this stage. And in the millions of books that I actually have here at the moment, there we go, there's my insect book. So we can close that up. Now I need to find you my regal fruit chafer. So here we go. So I thought maybe it was one of these that was hanging down from the leaf itself. You can see it's an absolutely beautiful beetle. Now I'm trying to just going to turn off, sorry if the book closes, there we go, I just want to turn off the car. But that beetle is probably, I would say, about the size of my thumb. So if I put my thumb next to it, this is actually quite a almost life-size that beetle would be. It really is big, and it shines iridescent greens and golds and reds, and then it's got those white markings on the head. It's a really pretty species, and I haven't seen too many of them in this summer, so I was hoping that potentially it could be one of those, but alas, it wasn't. So we shall carry on and see what else we can find. It's been a bit quiet this afternoon, actually. We haven't seen too much, even in the way of birds. It's been a little bit sort of on the quiet side. The birds haven't been chirping too much. That's quite nice, actually. Hold on. As I say it's just got to look around and pay attention, I suppose, and then you find things. Now, Senzo, I'm going to try and position so that you can get this, but it should work quite nicely. I just don't want to disturb it. There we go. Can you see it there, Senzo? Should be quite nice because it's up against the clouds, a nice clean background for you to work with. So there you go, silhouetted against the cloud is a beautiful garden orbweb spider. So it's difficult to see its colors at this stage, but it's a bright yellow and black spider, and it's got these markings to try and fool predators, so to tell predators that they are venomous and should not be eaten in any way. Now, these guys build extravagant webs. You can actually see, if we follow the web upwards, you'll see how high the marula tree is above us and how much this spider has had to sew to be able to get it. There we go, that's the top of the tree, that's where the web is attached, and then we come down, there's the spider, and if we keep coming down towards the ground, you can see how far that web actually stretches. Quite amazing, isn't it? And they often do this, they build on the edges of roads, And the reason why is because animals will often utilize roads. So things like zebra, wildebeest, elephant, buffalo, they walk along the roads, and as they're walking, they disturb insects like grasshoppers and varying other insects that could be on the road that are able to fly or jump, and they will then try to get out of the way of these big animals, and they then jump into this web where there is this spider waiting for them. So very, very clever to build their webs in places like this. Now, what we will find... Cheetah, you said you wanted to see one of these, and you said thank you very much. Well, thank you, Cheetah. It's an absolute pleasure to be able to show you one of these. These are one of my favorite spiders. I do like the orb web spiders. They don't look very pretty, and they look quite nasty, but they do build these incredible webs, and that golden orb web spider with that really bright gold silk is absolutely amazing. So it's my pleasure to show you one of these, and this is a really impressive female. So the reason why we know she's a female is because of her size. The males don't get anywhere near as big as this. The males are small. They also don't have any bright coloration, and the reason why they don't need the bright coloration is because they're so small, they can camouflage very, very well, and they are not really that noticeable. The female, because of her large size, needs that coloration to be able to tell predators that I'm not something that you can eat and to leave me alone. Really, really interesting. Now, James Hendry seems to be on absolute fire, so his nightmare has come to an end, and now he's just finding everything. I believe he's got something tall with spots as well.
That's the sound of flames, everybody. I'm on fire. There's the giraffe. Hello, Giraffe. How are you? Nice to see you. Thank you for making an appearance. As predicted, well, not predicted, as expected, as hoped. And there you are. A lady giraffe. And Herbert was actually just demonstrating his linguistic skills. He used to guide at a place where there were a lot of Italian guests. So I'm not sure if you're Italian, but Herbert told me in Italian what the giraffe was doing. He said, La giraffa Maggio foglio. The giraffe, he's eating the leaves. See, come over here. It's going to come out into the open. La giraffa. It might even mangia some folio just over there. There's nothing quite as incongruous as hearing a man like Herbert speaking Italian. Let's just sneak slowly closer. And Louise in the final control says, bellissimo. Grazie, grazie Louise. Elephants are calling there. Let's just keep going. Those elephants, if they see the leopard, of course, will make that loud noise. Now, the giraffe has cleverly placed itself between the tree and us. It's probably not convinced that we can see it. It is, of course, can see us coming slowly forward, and so we're going to behave completely unlike predators and just move slowly towards it in an easy, orderly fashion. Oh, there it is. Hello there. Now, she's going back towards her friends and some impala, so if we come over here, Rowan, I think we'll see them all. Oh yes, it'll be lovely through here. Look, two more giraffe. Le giraffe due. That means two giraffe, by the way. I think. Beautiful. Riti, a nice one from you, and I like these questions because they are so very human. You say, are giraffe alone, or do they live with their families? They don't have families, of course, like we do, Riti, but the females like this often like to live in small groups. So, small group of cows like this, and although sometimes they seem like they're alone, I think because they're so very tall and because they can make infrasonic sounds that we can't necessarily hear, they are in contact all the time. So it's a kind of loose social arrangement. And they're just watching that. The one you're looking at now is watching Herbert quite carefully, making sure that he's not up to no good, and obviously listening to his Italian. Let's get back to these chaps over here. Right, we are going to take a short break now. Obviously it's not a real break, it is a fake break, and I've got to try and get my timing right. So when you come back, we will hopefully still be with these giraffe, and perhaps Tristan will have found Shadow. We'll see you shortly. And we're back with the internet only, but of course we're only with the internet only today because there's no TV, and that was a fake ad break. Thank you very much for bearing with us during these rehearsals. They are one of the most crucial things that we do, those ad break rehearsals, because of course if you make a mess of them, well, we can look dreadfully unprofessional. So thank you for bearing with us while we do those. Oh, I can't believe it. Tristan has managed to find himself these animals for the second time today.
Indeed, James, we've managed to find a hyena at the den. Now, I can hear the little ones are calling inside, but I'm not sure that this is Ribbon, to be honest. I can't see nicely. She's kind of facing away from me at the moment, and all I got is a back end. So I think what I'm going to do is just see if she doesn't come back round. If she doesn't, I might go in position on the other side, because if the little ones come out, I know there's an exit point at the back, and they might have run out that way. So just quickly going to check, and if I can't see anything, then we'll go around. But it looks like they've settled on the other side. But it's really interesting to see what's going on at this den, how we've got so many different hyenas coming in the last few days. It's really, really exciting to see what's going to happen and who's going to be here, and whether or not Madam and the rest are going to start actually spending their time here and potentially having their young ones in this area. But isn't it exciting? I always love coming to this hyena den. Oh, there we go. There's another one. Hello. So we've got, I'm not sure who this is now lying on the road. I'm not very good with the hyenas at the moment. I've been trying to study up on them and trying to see and kind of to work out who is who, but I'm not 100% sure exactly which is which. And look at that big yawn. Now this is an old female. She's got quite tatty ears. The teeth are quite worn down as well. But there we go, just getting a little bit more comfy. Isn't that the most peaceful sight you've seen? Perfect. A Sunday afternoon nap. And this hyena seems to have got it perfectly down pat. So Riti, you're saying this is the first time you've seen the hyena on a live drive. Well, Riti, if you've got any questions, remember you can ask on #SafariLive on Twitter, and we'll try and answer them for you. But they are incredible animals. This morning we had a magical sighting. We came to the den here, and we ended up having this incredible sunrise. The light was this pink purple color, and the hyenas were all lying around. So we've been getting quite lucky with them recently, and now with the den being here and these other hyenas that they've found the den, they are starting to spend more time here. It's encouraging. It means that hopefully we're going to get some really good sightings of hyena over the next few months around this area. It's really, really good news to see that the matriarch, Madam, who is the leader of this clan, has been seen here a few times. And so, oh, your lip is stuck in your tooth. Now, hyenas are one of my favorite because they've got so much character, and you can see the way that she's got her face at the moment. She does look quite dopey, doesn't she? You must fix your lip, girl. So you can see her lip is all crunched up inside there. She's got it caught on her lower canine, not on this side but on the other side, but it's giving her this silly expression. She looks all too dopey at this stage. But isn't that amazing? Really, really good to see. So, like I say, the den seems to be active. There seems to be the young ones are calling from inside. So I'm hoping they're going to actually come out, and we're going to be able to see them, and we're going to see some interaction of the little cubs with all the older bigger adults. That will be absolutely incredible. But I still haven't seen Ribbon. I don't think she's here at the moment. I might be wrong, but I think she's somewhere in this area. So hopefully she'll come, and then the little ones will definitely come out. If Ribbon's not around, then they tend to try and sit inside the den. Now we're going to go into TV, so I'm just going to keep quiet. Welcome back, everybody. We're coming to you live from South Africa, and as you can see, we've got a beautiful hyena behind us. Now remember, this is interactive, so you can use #SafariLive on Twitter and ask us any questions that you may have about this spotted beauty. Now, she is just lying down and resting, so she is taking it very, very easy for this Sunday afternoon. So that's our TV welcome back. Hopefully we did a good job. For those of you that are out there, you can let us know if we did okay. Now, I see another little one has come past. I wonder if this is not January. So there was another little one here this morning, and that looks like it could be January. I might be wrong. I know Chris and Crystal, you both know the hyena quite well. So I'm not sure if one of you is watching, and you can let me know exactly which hyenas we have here. It would be nice to know. I'm trying my best to learn them, but it's all quite a lot to take in. So, Crystal, you say the oldest female is Madam the matriarch. Now, Crystal, I wonder if you can tell me if this is Madam lying over here for me, that's curled up, that's all kind of looking quite sedate and taking it very, very easy. So this is the one that you did ID. Thank you very much for that, Crystal. I can see she's been around the block a little bit, Madam. She's got tatty little ears. You can see there's a few little cuts and scrapes, and there's a little bit of greying around the eyes, and those teeth are a bit more worn, but she's a beautiful girl. She's nice and big and bulky, and she's got a really deep, rich color coat, which is quite unusual because generally when hyenas get a little bit older, they almost tend to fade a little bit. Their spots don't come nearly as bright, and the coat color tends to become a lot more sort of grey in coloration. But she's got a beautiful, rich color to her, and you can see there nicely why they're called spotted hyenas, with all those little dark dots all over their body. Isn't that amazing? So you've got a few pieces of grass there, my girl. You might have to clean yourself up a little bit before you get going this evening. But it really is encouraging that she's here. It means that she's completely happy to spend time around the den. The fact that I can hear the little ones means that she hasn't evicted them out, and we haven't got a situation where Ribbon unfortunately has to go find somewhere else because the matriarch has now come in. We must remember that Ribbon, who's the mother of these cubs in the den, she's not a high-ranking female, so she's one of the sort of mid to low-ranking females. And so if potentially Madam wanted to give birth, she could hypothetically remove Ribbon from this area and take it for herself. But she hasn't, and it seems like they've accepted this as their new den site, and now they are lying here because this is now the third time that we've seen Madam at the den, which is really, really incredible. So I'm super, super happy that she's here, and I want to get to know all of these little ones a lot more. Now, talking about spotted animals, I believe James has got a spotted animal of his own on foot, so let's go across to James and see what he's doing.
This is fantastic. I mean, the giraffe are fantastic as well, but the activity at that den is really great, and I am now going to have to reacquaint myself with the who's who of the Djuma clan, because I no longer remember who's who and how to recognize them. So I will obviously require your help, which I'm sure you'll give to me. Thank you very much. My name is James Hendry. Good. That's also a TV practice, everybody. #SafariLive, that's how you get hold of us. We're in the Kruger Park, live. That's a giraffe. Now, interestingly, the giraffe... Oh, okay, it's looking at Herbert. Never mind. I thought maybe it was searching towards the north for a predator, aka Xongile. Anyway, these giraffe are now no more than 15 meters from us. This is not the same individual we saw first. We had another lovely time with a slightly more, what would we say, I suppose the redhead version of the giraffe. There she is. There are 4 cows here, and they're all quite young and healthy and well-to-do, so obviously it's been a good summer for them. Oh, Now, Jade, you're wondering about giraffe communication. Well, you see, that's a very interesting one, and it's not always that clear. I think we're only sort of scratching the tip of the iceberg with animal communication, and certainly giraffes have received quite a lot of attention of late. So they can make sounds. They make a sort of puffing sound, like a little bit like a horse going. They can do that from time to time. Didn't like that very much. Let's just walk slowly along here. Then, Jade, we think that they can communicate with infrasound, which is just sound waves too low for us to hear. The frequency is too low for our ears to pick up, and it's a little bit like elephant communication, but not quite, I don't think, as, well, not necessarily as deep or as sophisticated. But they can do that. There's a lovely shot of all three of them walking through there. And there's the redhead, you can see. You see the different colours? Beautiful. They're very variable compared with many animals. Then, Jade, they can make a kind of groaning sound, and they do that when they're in serious distress. And in fact, the only time I've ever heard a giraffe doing it was when her baby, which had died somehow of natural, well, seemingly natural causes, was being eaten by a male leopard. And she tried for days to chase him off with loud bellowing groans. So that is an element of communication. Then they also will remain in visual contact. Now that is a form of communication for them, of course, as is their olfactory communication. So they smell. Giraffes do smell. I have actually yet to pick up a scent from them, but some people swear blind that they can smell giraffe very easily. And so they stay in contact with each other through the thick bush by smell, I would imagine. So those are the basic ways that they stay in contact and the way they communicate with each other. What they say, of course, is the mystery. And it's the same with the elephants. We know that they do communicate. We know that they make lots and lots of different sounds that probably mean different things. But what those things mean, we have no idea. We know that monkeys can make 4 or 5 different calls depending on what's coming to get them, and if you're a very sophisticated monkey researcher, you can actually tell what call means what predator. And if we are able to do just that, I imagine that their communication, for example, is hugely more complicated than we think it is. And so, you know, how complicated giraffe communication is, one cannot say. But they're so interested in human beings, and they're so interested in, or not inquisitive, I guess is the word I'm going for. Alrighty, we're going to go from tiles across to stripes. They're not tigers, so what do you think they are?
Well, if you look in the very far distance, of course, you can see a herd of zebra. Now, welcome back again. My name is Taylor, and on camera with me today is David. And it is really quite fantastic out here. We've moved away from the lions, and we found ourselves on another open plain with a beautiful herd of zebra. Now, unfortunately, it is not the McCurdy herdie that we're staring at, because this herd of zebra has got a teeny tiny foal, which is blending in very nicely with Mom's stripes. It was almost impossible to see it there. Darby was struggling there for a moment, and it is actually just really stunning with the coloration of the grass. And then, of course, you can see the size difference between a young foal and its mother. Now, it's not particularly old. I'd say about a month, maybe a month and a half. It is that small still, and apparently enjoys to wear Mom's tail as a hat. Getting used to the oxpeckers already. There's one that's been jumping about, but it will take that little one a bit of time before it's completely comfortable. But isn't that cool? At least it's having a helping hand with all of the ticks that is covering its body. And one thing that I've always noticed about young zebras, their faces always tend to be quite dark, quite black. Now, a friend of mine actually sent me a picture of a couple of zebras from the Pilanesberg National Park. So that's just outside Johannesburg in South Africa, of 3 or 4 different foals with the same markings on their face. It almost looks like their face has got mange, but I think that's almost impossible for such a young zebra to have so much mange on its face, and also it's a coincidence that the others have got the same thing. So Tristan and I were speaking about it, and we both don't know why that is, but as they get older, the white starts to develop a little bit more on their faces, and they sort of move away from that dirty look. But they also, I suppose, lose some of their coat. You can see how this little one is nice and fluffy at the moment, whereas mom's coat is smooth and flat, and that's just to help for the first year of keeping nice and warm, and then eventually they will lose that fluffiness and they'll look exactly like the adults. But isn't that beautiful? Now it's got 2 oxpeckers. I think the desensitization process goes fairly quickly with these younger animals, and sort of just having lots of oxpeckers on it. Isn't that funny? It's 2 juvenile oxpeckers on a juvenile zebra. I think that is quite fitting. So 2 little ones. But there's an entire family of oxpeckers at the moment. They keep going from one zebra to the other. But the zebra on the left must have about 4 or 5 of them climbing all over its body, having a groom, trying to get down into the ears where there are lots of little ticks pecking underneath the tail until, well, towards the nether regions. But that is, of course, where a lot of the ticks congregate, and it is a difficult spot for a zebra to scratch. So that's where those oxpeckers help a lot. Now, Reese from Scotland, you're wondering what types of skin mutations can a zebra have? Skin mutations. I'm not sure if I know what you mean about that. Are you talking about maybe like skin diseases, or are you talking about sort of patterns? I'm actually a little bit uncertain on that one. Like skin conditions. Lou, our fancy dress director today, has just confirmed that indeed she also thinks about skin conditions. Mange is a big one, but what can happen as well is, I know with horses, I've forgotten what you call it. I think they call it rain scald. But sometimes after very, very heavy rain, the horses can get, if they're not, say, blanketed, if they are living out and not being rugged, which is also, of course, fine, that sometimes it causes this bacterial infection on the skin, and it makes these scabs all over their bodies, and that's typically present after heavy rain. There's an adult oxpecker, you can see just by the red bill and the yellow orbital rings, where the juveniles don't have that. So they can get that, but bacterial infections are actually quite common amongst most animals, actually, skin conditions. I used to see it on the horses, and particularly in a big yard, and I can only imagine it will be the same thing with zebras. Maybe zebras are a little bit hardy because they are living out in the wild, whereas our domesticated horses can be pampered. I just want to draw your attention away. There's a giraffe just crossing over the top of my head. How great is that? With some zebras in the foreground too. So there's a number of different things, but they're fairly easy, and I don't think potentially life-threatening, the skin diseases that they can pick up. Normally, I'm sure a good groom and a good diet, as well as soon as their immune system increases, they'll be fine.